There's Carson McCready right there. We're going to talk some NBA midseason. Crazy as it sounds, we're already at the midseason mark in the NBA season. The All-Star teams have been announced. Anthony Davis, as expected, is going to be out of the All-Star game, replaced by Devin Booker. So we'll talk about who got in, who should have gotten in. We'll talk about midseason stuff as well. First, I want to tell you a little bit about Lammons Fine Jewelry. I need to get that pulled up. I don't even need a lot of ad copy to tell you about Lammons. It's at 1173 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been doing fine jewelry in Oxford, pretty much everything for, I don't know, more than 73 years. They've got everything from wedding rings to engagement rings to costume jewelry, fine jewelry, pearls, watches. I've got several watches from there. Carson's got a watch from the people at Lammons. They do absolutely great work. You can go in there and take jewelry that you've maybe had in your family, and you want to get it fixed, you want to get it refurbished, you want to get it repurposed. You can do all of that at Lammons. They'll take care of you. We did some of that at Christmas for the girls. Absolutely looks great, looks brand new, and they love it. So actually 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford, 662-234-2777. It's the absolute gold standard in fine jewelry. Alan King and the people at Lammons do a remarkably good job. You'll love it. We've been dealing with them for as long as we've been here, 13 years. We'll keep dealing with them as long as we are in Oxford. They do fantastic work. So if you're in Oxford or the surrounding area, go in, check out their Reactor watches, their Citizen watches. It's wedding season. Be a great place to pick up a wedding gift. And obviously, if you're about to get engaged or something like that, go check out Lammons. Make sure that you get something that you will love and she will love for a lifetime. Carson, how are you?
Doing good.
You've got Carson's got a basketball game tonight, so we won't go super long. Your team's the Lakers. Who do y'all play tonight? Do you know?
No clue.
What's y'all's record so far?
0-2.
Get closer to the mic, remember? There you go. 0-2. What's happened? What's happened to your Lakers?
Lost games, I guess.
Well, I mean, has it been a lack of effort? Is it lack of what's happened? Y'all had a lead in one, you let it get away. You fell behind early in another, couldn't close the deal. What's happened?
I mean, I guess just like effort. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes tonight. We'll have hand raise guys tonight at 7. Carson's game tips at 7. Maybe we can get an update when he gets back. I doubt very seriously he'll come in and give us an update, but maybe I'll get a text on an update. All right, Carson, we've got some NBA questions already. Got some Thunder questions. You're wearing your Oklahoma City shirt right now. Got your is that your?
That's the Shea shirt.
All
the
right.
Shea shirt.
All right, well, it's good. We start with Shea. Ashton Riyadh says, Carson, how about our boy SGA last night? For those who don't know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander went for 42 and I don't know what else in a Thunder win.
Shot really well.
He played great. Thunder win 102-99 on a last-second three from Lou Dort to win the game. Ashton says emerging superstar, and then Leif Benson's. We'll start with Thunder. We'll break the ice with the Thunder. Leif's with me here, and you and I have had this conversation a few mornings. Leif's question is, Carson, why can't our Thunder tank better? The Thunder are not tanking very well, Carson. This is not.
Well, they're not a bad team. They have good pieces.
Close. There you go. Okay, you're good. Not a bad team, good pieces, but they need to be bad right now. Right? The goal is to be bad right now.
Yeah.
So why aren't they bad?
I mean, they've got Al Horford, Shea, who's like we've said all the time, emerging superstar. As of now, one of the best defensive players in the league, potentially like a top 3 defensive guard in the league. In my opinion, he's like a improved Andre Roberson. They've got Baisley.
Oh yeah, I think he's already better than Roberson ever was.
Yeah.
Talking about Lou Dort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, and he can score the ball. He can shoot. You saw it last night. I just think they have. I wouldn't say they have like great pieces other than Shea. Maybe Al Horford too, but still they have a good team that you could still not saying throw in the mix is in like contention of a title, but maybe it's potentially like a playoff team. I don't know. They're just not like a terrible team.
No, they're not a playoff team, and they're not a title team. But here's their problem. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is emerging as a great NBA player with the chance to be an elite NBA player. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, 21, 22 years old?
About like that. Something like that.
He is 23.5 points a game. He's shooting 51.4 from the floor, 41.9 from three, 79.1 from the free throw line. Frankly, his free throw percentage is probably going to go up as he gets a little older. If he can keep the other, he's got a chance to be a 50, 40, 90 guy. There aren't many of those. There aren't many guys that do that. He is he's getting 6.4 assists a game, 5.3 rebounds a game, basically getting a steal a game. He's averaging about 3 turnovers a game. He's terrific. That's problem number one. Sounds stupid to say, but it's problem number one. Problem number two is that the Thunder have become a place where veterans go and remake their careers. And enter Al Horford, who was considered sort of done for a year ago in Philly. And now with Oklahoma City, he's getting 14.6 a game, 5.9 5.9, let's see, where's his rebounds? 6.9 rebounds a game, so 7 rebounds a game, 3.7 assists. He's getting a steal a game. He's been terrific. He's been too terrific. And then you mentioned Dort, and this is where I think – and then there's another guy, too, that we hadn't even talked about yet. Dort's getting 12.6 a game. He's shooting 32.8 from three, which is nothing terrific, but it's not terrible either. And then the other guy that they're getting a lot of contributions from is Hamadoo Diallo.
Oh, yeah. He's been really good.
Who's getting 11.9 a game, 5.2 rebounds, 2.4 assists. He's getting a steal, not turning it over that much. They're a little too good. What I would like to see them do, and we're not going to spend their entire show on the Thunder, I promise. I'd like to see them. They got to move George Hill. First of all, when he comes back, they got to move him. They can't afford.
He hasn't played a game.
He's had a hand injury.
Yeah, when they're still winning games. That's my thing.
Yeah, when he comes back, he needs to go play someplace else.
Yeah,
because he's too good of a player. He's going to help them. 11.8 a game. That they don't need his 11.8.
No.
They need him to. They need to give more of these minutes to Theo Maledon, see what they've got there. They need to give more of these minutes to Darius Baisley, see what they've got there, because Baisley's giving them 11.4 a game as well. They need to go ahead and bring up our boy Poku, bring him back, let him.
He's looked good in the G League.
He has looked good in the G League. They need to let him come up and look bad in the NBA. The Thunder need to lose some games. Leif says the SGA needs some nights off.
Yeah.
Part of SGA's problem, and I saw this last night, I was flipping between Arkansas, Alabama, and the Thunder Spurs. And when SGA was out of the game and the Spurs were making their run, SGA was visibly upset on the sideline. He wanted to come back in. I think the Thunder thought his development was still a year away, and it's not a year away.
Clearly it's not.
It's clearly not a year away. And I think there were warning signs that this wasn't that way. If you remember when he was with the Clippers and he got traded in that Paul George trade, Doc Rivers, who at the time was the coach of the Clippers, and we'll talk about Doc in a little while. Doc Rivers, who was the coach of the Clippers, was like, I don't think that I would have preferred not to deal him. I would have preferred to keep him in LA. Of course, the Thunder weren't going to do the deal without SGA. And then last year, Chris Paul, the praise that he would heap on SGA was noteworthy. And you would have to listen to it and go, boy, that's two NBA lifers, Doc Rivers, Chris Paul, who are raving about this kid. And then you'd watch him and just the way his game developed, the way that he played off of Chris Paul, the way that he played in that 3-guard lineup with Dennis Schroeder, who's having a great year with the Lakers. There was a lot of things there. And the Thunder in a weird spot because they don't want to stunt that development. But at the same time, man, you'd like to get one of the top 4 or 5 picks in the draft, and right now they wouldn't get one of those.
Mm-mm.
All right. We said that we would talk about – let me see if I can find it here. We said we would talk about who made the All-Star team, so let me get to that. I've got way too many things in this thread here, but I'm going to find it. So the NBA All-Star reserves were announced on Tuesday. We got this thread going now. So the game's March the 7th. Can't believe March the 7th is right around the corner in Atlanta. We'll start with the Western Conference because that's what I've got up first. The starters, in case you don't remember, you guys out there listening, the starting lineup, Steph Curry of Golden State, Luka Doncic of Dallas, that's the backcourt. Nikola Jokic of Denver is the starting center. And then Kawhi Leonard of the Clippers, LeBron James of the Lakers make up the rest of the starting front court for the West. The reserves for the West, Paul George of the Clippers makes the team, having a great season. Rudy Gobert of the Jazz, we're going to talk about the Jazz a little bit as well. He makes it. Obviously, Damian Lillard, an easy pick of Portland. Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz makes it. We mentioned Chris Paul a minute ago. Chris Paul makes it from the Suns in his first year there. Zion Williamson of the Pelicans gets his first All-Star selection. And then Anthony Davis is out. Devin Booker of the Suns is in. In the Eastern Conference, the starters are Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets and Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. That's your backcourt. Joel Embiid, the center for the Philadelphia 76ers, is the starting center for the East. And then the forwards, Giannis Antetokounmpo of Milwaukee, Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. Makes up the rest of the East starting front court. The reserves for the East, Jaylen Brown having a terrific year. For the Boston Celtics, James Harden came over to the Nets in the early season deal. Zach LaVine of the Bulls, Julius Randle of the Knicks having a great season. Ben Simmons of the Sixers, Jason Tatum of the Celtics, and then one that surprised me a little bit, but he's certainly having an all-star season, Nicola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic. You got any problems with who made it? Anybody, in your opinion, got shunned?
I mean, in ways, I do wish that, I think I mentioned this like last time, but I do kind of wish that Dame got that starting spot over Luka, because I know Luka's had a great year and all, but Dame's has just been on a whole nother level. I mean, he's just unreal.
Dame's had a terrific season.
He's super clutch. Like, two guys that I think have been like the most clutch, like super duper clutch players. Him and Zach LaVine.
Yeah, they have. So the guys that I thought kind of got screwed, and everybody can't make it.
Yeah.
I thought Mike Conley of Utah is having an all-star season. I thought he was going to get into the all-star game for the first time. I thought he would make it. I thought Domantas Sabonis of Indiana should have made it. Part of the problem with the East is that I don't think Kyrie's really having an all-star season, and
he's just so popular.
He got one of the starting spots. I got no problem with Beal, Embiid, Giannis, KD. Obviously, they're great players. Jaylen Brown absolutely deserved to make the team. Harden probably should have been a starter instead of
Irving,
and that would have opened up a spot that you could have given to Sabonis. That's about the extent of my complaints with it. I mean, there were guys. I mean, I think Randall's having an all-star season. LaVine, Simmons, Tatum. We talked about Buchovich. I mean, look at his numbers. He's having an all-star year. Everybody can't make it,
I was surprised he got voted in. Vucevic.
A little bit.
He's not like a popular player. Like, you don't think of NBA players and say, oh, Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah. The only other guy that I thought, and some of this is recency bias because of how well he's played late, is, I think if you were to select the teams 2 weeks from now, it might be hard to leave Shai Gilgeous-Alexander off the team. But everybody can't make it, so I don't have a big problem with it. It should be a really fun game. They're playing that
target score that they did last year.
Yeah, the target score, and then the final quarter is 24 points in a tribute.
So it's still going to be Kobe.
A tribute to Kobe, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And more and more talk about taking the NBA player emblem, which has been Jerry West forever, and
making it Kobe.
And
That'd be really cool.
They've talked to Jerry West about it, and he said, "I think it's a great idea."
Yeah.
It doesn't diminish from Jerry West's legacy as an NBA player,
also,
and coach, and exec at all.
This whole generation of basketball, like all this, like this new generation, they look up to him. Everyone just looks up to Kobe.
Sure.
I mean, like a lot of players, I feel like they, for example, you'll see them wearing his shoes. I mean, I think there's just a lot of tribute to him.
Yeah, well,
and a lot of big respect for him.
Well, the current players, this current group, these guys that we just got through talking about as all-stars, most of these guys are too young to have remembered Magic and Bird and even Jordan.
Yeah.
They don't really remember watching them in their primes. The guy that they grew up watching was Kobe.
Yeah.
And Kobe was still there when a lot of them got into the league. And one of the highlights of the early portion of their careers was
getting championships.
Well, and them getting to play against Kobe, and getting to know Kobe.
Right.
And late in his career, and especially after his career was over, Kobe did a lot of what Tiger Woods has done on the PGA Tour, which is he softened a little. I mean, I think Kobe sensed that. All right, I'm not the greatest anymore. I'm the old man now, and so these young guys want to get to know me, and I'm going to let them a little bit. And so that was kind of cool. And so yeah, I think that would be a cool thing. All right, so let's talk about midseason awards. Most teams have played 30 some odd games. So everybody's going to play a 72-game season. So we're almost right at the midpoint. Teams have played 33, 34 games, so we're there. If you had to give votes today, we'll start with there's the 6 awards that the NBA passes out. So we'll start with this one. Most improved player in the NBA. If you had to give the award out here at the midway mark, who gets it?
In my opinion, I really think it's Jeremy Grant. And he might not win it. I'm not sure if that vote is going to be comes into play as much as the, say, All-Star Game voting. But I feel like a guy like him could win it easily. I'd throw, like, DeJounte Murray. Honestly, Shea, too. His year's been crazy. I know his stats haven't been a lot more, but his game has just improved a lot.
Oh, I think you could talk about him in that category. To me, the guy that's the runaway winner for this, although after you told me today that you really liked Grant, I went and pulled up his numbers. I'm like, oh, boy, he's got a really good point. Jeremy Grant's had a fantastic season. His team's so bad.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown of Boston.
Yeah,
has gone from being a good player to being
a great player.
A great player, an all-star player, a high-level impact player on a contending team.
One of the best guards in the league right now.
So I think I would go with Brown, but I have no problem with Jeremy Grant.
And also, in my opinion, I don't really think the team thing matters.
It shouldn't. You just kind of wonder if it does. Like,
a
year ago with the Sixth Man Award, I thought Dennis Schroeder deserved it. And a Clipper got it. Montrezl Harrell got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that was Harrell played on a better team. He played on a team that was a contender all season. And, Schroeder played on a team that was a playoff team, but, were they a 6 seed or whatever? No one ever thought of the Thunder as a contender because they weren't.
Right, yeah.
So I think that was part of it. All right, 6th Man of the Year, speaking of. A year ago, I thought it should have been Schroeder. It was Montrezl Harrell. What do you think this year?
For 6 man?
6 man.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant.
You think Grant coming off the Detroit bench is the 6th Man of the Year?
Yeah, I don't even think he's coming off the bench.
Well, then who's the 6th Man of the Year?
Oh, 6th man. Oh shoot. I wasn't thinking about that. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'll
give you mine while you're thinking. Let's be because one of our next topics we'll transition to is the Utah Jazz.
Oh, yeah, Clarkson.
To me, it's Jordan Clarkson.
He's really good. I just can't really think of any 6 men. Like, I cannot think. Like, I can think of Dinwiddie. obviously, I don't think he's played that much this season.
Yeah, he's out.
Lou Williams hasn't been crazy, I don't think.
To me, it's Clarkson.
Yeah, I just don't know who the 6 men are, so I'll go with that.
Okay.
I literally have no clue.
The only other guy that I think you could vote for 6 man of the year this year is Chris Boucher of the Raptors. He's having that kind of a season. The Raptors are coming on strong, and he's been a big part of that.
Is Norman Powell start on that team?
It's a good question. I don't know.
He's gotten good.
I have not watched a lot of Toronto this year.
I think
I've fallen into that trap, Carson, of watching the West a lot more than I watch the East.
Yeah.
All right.
I think TD's been pretty good too. Similar year than he did last year, I guess.
Yeah, Terrence is coming back a little bit. I think he still climbs in Nurse's doghouse here and there.
Yeah.
He'll have a couple of games where he plays a lot, and then he won't play, and then he'll play a lot. I think getting him to be a more consistent practice player is part of the deal there.
Yeah.
He did have his charges dropped against him, which is a good news for him. So that will stop being a distraction, and also it lets the Raptors plan on him being there, because if you don't know when there's criminal charges, are we going to have this guy? What's going to be happening?
I'd love to see him turn into something good, just like a really good player that you could just put on a team or come off the bench. I don't know. I just want to see something good for him.
He's one of the favorite kids I've ever covered. I always had this big infectious smile. Always really liked him. Was always accountable. If you asked questions, he answered them.
He lived not even like.
I'm a Terrence Davis fan. I mean, I like TD.
And he lived about like an hour away too, which was always cool.
Yeah. Grew up in South Haven. Coach of the year.
I kind of think Doc Rivers.
Oh, it's a great pick.
Straight off of my head, he's the guy I would think of.
Having a great year in Philadelphia. There's I told you I thought you could make an argument for Billy Donovan.
I just don't understand how.
Because the Bulls sucked a year ago.
They still do.
They're mediocre. They're a playoff team.
They are?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what seed are they right now?
I'll pull it up in a minute because we're going to talk about that in a minute. But they've had it. But the guy that would get my vote, I've thought about it a lot. The guy that would get my vote is Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns.
And yeah, him too. I just, straight off my head, I think Doc Rivers, because they've been so good.
Yeah, I've got no problem with Doc. All right, Defensive Player of the Year. This is easy, and I think we both have the same guy.
Gobert.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert of the Jazz. He's the Defensive Player of the Year. He's been just absolutely terrific on a terrific team that we'll talk about in a minute. Rookie of the Year.
I guess LaMelo. He's just so popular. He also gets, frankly, way too much social media attention.
He's a good player, too.
He's really good. I'm just saying he's kind of, I don't think you've seen as much Instagram as I look at, but still he gets so much attention on it. Like he'll make a pass and overtime they'll make a post about it, or Bleacher Report, they'll post something, but yeah.
So LaMelo Ball getting 14.8 a game. He's shooting almost 44% from the floor, 35% from three. He's getting 6 rebounds a game, 6.1 assists a game, a steal and a half, actually a little more than that a game. He's averaging fewer than 3 turnovers a game.
Those are just really good rookie numbers.
Those are phenomenal rookie numbers.
Yeah.
This is the guy that everybody said, hey, he's either going to be great or he's going to be a bust. And it looks like he's going to be great. Everything in his game
looks really good.
I like.
And
everything in his game.
And he's still got a lot to learn.
Well, he's going to get better. I think we talked about this. I always listen to NBA players, veteran players, when they talk about young players. Because you're always going to get, oh, yeah, he's a good dude, he's a good teammate, whatever. But when
they might be saying something deep or just.
But when they go into detail.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting, and we may have talked about this on a previous show, when Gordon Hayward, his teammate in Charlotte, who's been around the league for a while, Gordon Hayward's in Utah, he was in Boston, came back from that horrific leg injury, and he's now having a really nice season in Charlotte. When Gordon Hayward talked about LaMelo Ball and compared him to Russell Westbrook, I thought that was really interesting. I think LaMelo is going to be a superstar. That's what I think. I think he's going to be. I think he's.
I think if everything goes well, yeah, that could honestly pan out. I mean, he looks really good.
All right, we talked about Rookie of the Year. So who's your MVP right now?
Right now, I really love Embiid this season. He's like one of my top 3 guys for it. I would say him, KD, and there's a lot of guys you could say. You could say Giannis.
You could say Giannis.
You could say LeBron always.
Yep. And you mentioned one earlier today, and you're right. I went and looked his numbers up. Nikola Jokic. You could make an MVP argument for Jokic. His team, I think,
they're not as great, but still, he's been phenomenal.
He has been special. I'm pulling up his stats right now because I think sometimes because of where he plays, it's not a superstar market necessarily. 27 points a game. He's getting 56.2% from the floor, 40.8% from 3, 87.5% from the free throw line, almost 11 rebounds a game, 6.4 assists per game, almost 2 steals a game. He's having a magnificent season. That's Jokic.
Yeah. And it's a big man. And you're getting those kind of numbers from him. 2 steals.
He changed his body. He's become far more athletic in the last calendar year or so. Like, what's today, the 25th? 2 days ago against Portland.
Yeah, it's 25th.
He went for 41, 5 and 5 with the steal in a win. He went for 37, 10 and 6 in a loss to Atlanta. Part of his problem is that his team doesn't win enough consistently for him to get the kind of consideration that he probably deserves.
I don't think Murray's been the player he was in the playoffs last year.
Jamal Murray?
No.
Yeah. So I'm going with Embiid right now.
That's who I think.
But it's close. I mean, the second half of the season will be interesting because you can make a legitimate argument today for the guys that you mentioned. I think you can make an argument for Donovan Mitchell. I think you can make an argument for Rudy Gobert. I think Dame Lillard, absolutely. I think you can make an argument for Chris Paul. I think you can make an argument for Devin Booker. You can make an argument for Kawhi.
Luka, maybe. Obviously, his team's
got to get hot.
Yeah,
but he's starting to do some things. He's playing better, but his first half might have prevented him from doing it.
Did you see that game winner he hit the other night?
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's still super dangerous with the ball. All right, let's talk some standings because the standings are going to get me into what is now kind of becoming my weekly thing where I'm either going to look super smart at the end or I'm going to look like an idiot. So I'm prepared either way. Western Conference standings. These are through the games of the 24th. So as of right now, which is we're taping this at 6 o'clock on February the 25th, Utah would be the 1 seed. They're 26-6. 26-6. They blew out the Lakers last night. The Clippers are the 2 seed, 23-10. The Lakers right behind them, a half game back, or a full game back, I should say, at 22-11. Phoenix is rising. It's a play on words. They're 20-11 as the 4. Portland up to the 5 seed, 18-13. San Antonio, after that loss to the Thunder, they're 6 at 16-12. Denver right behind them at 17-14. Golden State is the 8. And then Dallas needs to make up some games. Dallas is 9. They're playing 500 basketball. They're 15-15. Memphis is a game under at 13-14. The Pelicans are the 11 seed right now, 14-17. Oklahoma City is up to 12, which is not good, at 13-19 after the win last night. Sacramento is a half game back of the Thunder at 12-19.
Houston and Minnesota.
Houston is the 14, and Minnesota is the 15.
Have they hit 10 wins yet?
No, Minnesota is 7-26 as they approach the midway mark. They're having historically
I
bad
just
year.
hope they don't get the first picks. I would hate that if I were Cade, because I know you're getting paired with Anthony Edwards, but still.
Cade Cunningham,
Yeah, I don't want to see him there.
Don't know that he fits there because the more I watch Cunningham, the more I don't see a point guard. The more I watch Cunningham, I think he can play the point, but the more I watch Cunningham, the more I would like to see him play a point forward as he grows into that body. Anyway, we'll talk about drafts and stuff as we go.
To be fair, they could trade him, or they could trade Edwards.
They could trade the pick. I mean, they could do something. They
could get something big with that.
It'll be interesting to watch them because I'm curious. Like for example, the Thunder. We talk about them. The Thunder could be sitting there with say 5, 8, and 21 in the draft. And
you obviously, I'm not saying they would have to use those picks, but they could always trade the picks they have from like a year or two ago.
They could do a lot of different things.
They could easily package something and get that number 1 pick.
So we'll see what that looks like. I want to talk about Utah for a minute. Because the more I watch the Jazz and the more I read about the Jazz, the more it becomes obvious that the Jazz, to me, are a legitimate title contender. Not just a good team, a legitimate title contender.
Well, as long as I can see them win a series or two, because playoffs, anything can happen. They need to win a playoff series. They need to make it, honestly, to the Western Conference Finals.
At this point, I think losing in the Western Conference Finals would be a disappointment.
Yeah, I'm saying they need to get there, though.
Yeah, I'm making an argument for them winning the thing, and here's why. I need my old man glasses, Carson. Here's why. They have a really balanced roster. Everybody knows about Donovan Mitchell. It's 24.1 points a game. Everybody knows about Rudy Gobert and his defensive prowess. Everybody knows about what we talked about Mike Conley, who's getting 16.3 points a game, 5.7 assists a game. We talked about Clarkson earlier, who's getting 16.3 points per game coming off the bench. He's averaging almost 4 rebounds, a little over 2 assists a game.
Got Bogdanovich.
Bogdanovich is the next name I was going to mention. He's sitting there I'm giving them a threat at 15.3 points a game. He's shooting 40% basically from 3, 43% from the floor. He's giving them almost 4 rebounds a game, a little more than 2 assists a game. They're getting Joe Ingles is giving them shooting. Ingles is giving them. This is what I'm saying, though. This is this really balanced team.
It's a really deep team, too.
Yeah, this is this balanced, deep team. Ingles is giving them 11.5 points a game. Then you get different guys that you just get little pieces from.
They still have Derek Favors?
I was going to mention Favors. Derek Favors is 6.4 points a game.
Okay, well, that's
Georges Nang, Royce O'Neal. They've got all these guys that give them something.
Well, and you named, let me think, Mitchell, Conley, Gobert, Bogdanovich, Ingles,
Clarkson.
That's 6 guys who put up at least 10 points a game.
Yeah. This super balanced team.
Yeah.
And so the knock on them has always been, do they have a guy in a playoff series who can carry them?
Yeah.
And I think
right now they do.
I think right now they do. I think Donovan Mitchell can carry a team. And this year with he did
it last year as well.
A healthy, but and Conley was just kind of not there yet.
Yeah.
Conley's there now. And they have these other pieces now. And they're a team I'm really interested. Do they look to add one more piece at the deadline? We'll start talking about trade deadline in a couple of weeks. They could add something. Give them another guy. That's about
in ways they could add Al Horford and let Bogdanovich come off the bench. I don't know.
They're going to get a team like Dallas, a team like Memphis, a team like New Orleans, a team like Golden State in the first round. That's kind of going to be sort of the matchup there. And then after that, it's they're They're going to be in that 1-4. So we're going to get, I think the 2-3 is going to be Lakers-Clippers. So
maybe Suns.
So you won't have to go, so you're not going to have to go through the Clippers and the Lakers in the playoffs if you hold on to the 1. You're going to have to go through one of them, not 2 of them.
Just 1, yeah.
And then so, they're my pick. They're my pick in the West, and when I watch them play, I'm more and more convinced. They have a 3.5-game lead right now in the West. Yeah, that right now it would be the Suns or Portland. Portland and Phoenix would play a first-round series right now. The Lakers would play the Spurs. The Clippers would play Denver, and Utah would play Golden State.
I wonder if Denver could upset.
Sure.
I mean, they're still a good team. I think if just Jamal Murray could pick it up.
Well, you saw a year ago. I mean, when you have Jokic on the floor playing the way he plays, he can single-handedly win a series.
Yeah. I just think if he had Murray, he could. Who knows what they could do.
All right, we'll talk about the East here. We covered the West. The East is every bit as competitive this year. These are, again, if you're listening, these are through February the 24th. We're taping this a little after 6 on February the 25th. In the East, Philadelphia right now hanging on to the 1 seed, just barely. They're 21-11. They are a half game ahead of Brooklyn, who is 1 game behind the Sixers in the loss column. The Nets are 21-12. Milwaukee 19-13, kind of getting hot. Indiana's the 4 right now at 15-15. Toronto's the 5 at 16-17. Chicago is 15-16. Charlotte is 15-16. And then there's 3 teams, Miami, Boston, and New York, all tied for the 8 seed with 15-17 records. Atlanta just 1 game behind them right now, the 11. They're 14-18. Orlando just 2 games out at 13-19. Then you fall off. Washington, Cleveland, and then Detroit. Detroit is the 15 seed right now. The Pistons are 9-23. Played a little better, but way too late for them. They're trying to.
They've got no chance.
No. They're trying to move Blake Griffin, and if anything, they're trying to clear some money and position themselves for the draft and some of that kind of thing. All right, so we got these teams at the top. Philly's a contender, Brooklyn's a contender, Milwaukee's a contender, and then I think the contending stops there. Of the next teams, if you told me that a team got hot, I would tell you it's probably Toronto. But I've watched them, and they don't feel like a title contending type team. Certainly not Chicago, not Charlotte. Miami's playing better.
Maybe Boston. I mean, Jason Tatum, he's going to have to get healthy, though.
Boston's weird. They're 15-17. I mean, their window's closing on them. They traded. They got rid of Hayward. It turned out to be a mistake.
Same with Horford.
The point guard who came over for Charlotte, whose name's escaping me.
Rozier.
Not Rozier. Oh, gosh. Someone help me in the stream.
Young guy?
No, but was a veteran. Played for the Hornets forever, and then he left via free agency. I'm pulling it up. It's kind of the point here because he's having a
terrible season.
He's having a bad season on a team where they need him to have a good season. Why am I? This is driving me nuts. I'm looking. I can't believe I'm doing this. When I say this name, you're gonna be mad at yourself. All right, I pulled up the Celtics roster. This is unbelievable. I'm so mad at myself right now. Let me see him on the roster. Anyway, I'll find it in a minute. You okay?
Dropped my phone. Yeah.
Oh no. They're just really struggling. They're not getting out of Grant Williams what they thought they'd get out of Tennessee. Kimball Walker. Kimball Walker's who I'm thinking of. I told you you'd get mad at yourself as soon as you saw it. Kimball Walker's having a terrible year.
Not even a veteran, Dad.
He's 31.
He's not a vet.
Kimball Walker is a vet. He's absolutely a vet. Been in the league forever.
Wouldn't call him a veteran, though.
All right. You say so. Been in the league since 2011. He's 30 years old.
So is Russell Westbrook. I would call him like a veteran.
But a year ago, he was getting 20.4 points per game. He's dropped off pretty considerably this year. So I think Boston's in trouble. I think the East is a 3-team race unless somebody makes some sort of a significant deal.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of where we are with
standings.
Playoff
contention.
Yeah, so those are the teams, and we'll talk trade deadline next week. You've got your game coming up in a little bit, so we'll cut it a little bit short here and let you get ready for the Lakers' big contest at the Oxford Park Commission. So we'll be back next Thursday is the plan, I think, for another edition of Chasing the Ring. Again, our thanks to the people at Lammons Fine Jewelry for hanging with us and sponsoring the show and making it happen. So until next time, for Carson, I'm Neal. Take care.